Dear Esther, the gulls do not land here anymore. I've noticed that this year they seem to shun the place. Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. At night, you can see the lights sometimes from a passing tanker or trawler. From up on the cliffs, they are mundane. But down here, they fugue into ambiguity. For instance, I cannot readily tell if they belong above or below the waves. Found the ship's manifest, crumpled and waterlogged under a stash of paint cans. Reading Donnelly by the weak afternoon sunlight. When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, we are not like Lot's wife, you and I. Dear Esther, I met Paul. I would leave you presents outside your retreat in this interim space between cliff and beach. I would leave you loaves and fishes, but the fish stocks have been depleted and I've run out of bread. I've become convinced I am not alone here, even though I'm equally sure it is simply a delusion brought upon by circumstance. Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. It's only at night that this place makes any sluggish effort at life. You can see the buoy and the aerial. I've been taking to sleeping through the day in an attempt to resurrect myself. There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived? I had kidney stones and you visited me in the hospital. Is this what Paul saw through his windscreen? Not Lot's wife looking over her shoulder, but a scar in the hillside, falling away to black forever. I've begun my ascent on the windless slope of the western side. The Buoy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. My heart is landfill, these false dawns waking into the still never light. In a footnote, the editor comments that at this point, Donnelly was going insane as syphilis tore through his system like a drunk driver. He's not to be trusted. They found Jakobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Climbing down to the caves, I slipped and fell and have injured my leg. I think the femur is broken. Did Jakobsen crawl this far? Can I identify the scratches his nails ruined into the rocks? Am I following him cell for cell, inch for inch? Why did he turn back on himself and not carry through to the ascent? I first saw him sat by the side of the road. I was waiting for you to be cut out of the wreckage. If the caves are my guts, this must be the place where the stones are first formed. When I was coming round from the operation, I remember the light they shone in my eyes to check for pupil contraction. It was like staring up at a moonlit sky from the bottom of a well. I sat here and watched two jets carve parallel white lines into the sky. Of fire and soil, I chose fire. It seemed the more contemporary of the options, the more sanitary. There were chemical diagrams on the posters on the walls on the waiting room. It seemed appropriate at the time. From here, I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. I will drag my leg behind me. I will drag it like a crumpled hatchback, tires blown and sparking across the dimming lights of my vision. I'm running out of painkillers and am following the flicker of the moon home. I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. The stones in my stomach will weigh me down and ensure my descent is true and straight. I will break through the fog of these godforsaken pills and achieve clarity. A gull perched on a spent bonnet, sideways, whilst the sirens fell through the middle distance and the metal moaned in grief about us. I'm about this night in walking, old bread and gull bones, old Donnelly at the bar gripping his drink, old Esther walking with our children, old Paul as ever, old Paul. He shakes and he shivers and he turns off his lights alone. I am the Ariel. In my passing, I will send news to each and every star. Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me.